Alright, so we are going to be flying VR1350 and VR1355 in the Pacific Northwest today, and we're going to go down to the Boardman target range. So we're going to try and we're going to come out of Whidbey Island here, and we're going to try and follow the real world restrictions on the route as closely as possible. So it's going to be, we're going to avoid the real noise sensitive areas. We're going to fly at the speeds that you're supposed to fly them at. Or, sorry, we're going to plan at the speeds you're supposed to plan them at. We'll be correct about that. We're going to fly down, and hopefully going to fly a somewhat realistic strike on the Boardman range, and we're going to come all the way back to Whidbey Island. Hopefully total time en route should be about an hour or so. Well, a little over, maybe an hour and 15, 1.25 will probably be what we finally log. So we're going to go through and run a route briefing here. So we're going to start, we're going to be flying a notional F-18E squadron out of Whidbey Island Naval Air Station. I'm only saying that because in real life you can't start this route at point A unless you're based at Whidbey Island. But this is a fun part of the route, so we're going to start at Whidbey Island. We're going to start at Whidbey Island, take off. I haven't actually looked at the weather there, so we can actually see what the winds are. Winds are 270 at 7. We'll take off runway 25, which is going to be straight out initially, and I believe it's up to 3,000 before the turn for noise. Actually, now that's out over the water, so we'll just take off, go straight out. Once we get airborne, we'll climb up to 3,000, turn around, and head straight into point A. We'll have to avoid actually, we'll probably climb up to 5,000. It's probably a better initial altitude. And we got to avoid this town here by about 3 miles, but that should not be a problem as we're coming in from Whidbey Island here, and we can go pretty much go straight to point A. Let's get to point A. We'll cancel our IFR and continue on the route. Starting at point A, we're good down to 200 feet for pretty much the entire route. We'll have to remain north of the route center line initially because of opposite direction traffic on VR1355 on the south here, which is actually going to be our way back into Whidbey. So we've got these hash marks here. These are times. Initial one is 1 minute just so I get started, and then thereafter it's every 2 minutes. So we'll start a clock on the HUD as we enter at point A, so we can keep our time. And this is planned at 420 knots, so each of the 2 minute marks are 14 miles apart. We're going to come down here down to point B. One of the things I want to point out is we can, once we get down in here, we're going to try and avoid this serpentine because it's going to take us onto VR1355. But the nice thing about Google Earth is we can actually tilt here and sort of plot our routes. So if we come in here, if we're slightly north of center line, coming through B, we can actually pick up this creek and follow this all the way down very nicely. We're going to get down here to point C, where we're going to come back to the left. We need to avoid, there's a farm, which is a restriction we're supposed to avoid by 3 miles or 1,500 feet AGL. We'll try and stay low, and we'll swing wide on point C and come down to the, river is this? This is the Columbia River, the far north side. Come north, swing around, and pick up the Columbia River, come around on the Columbia River. We got to hit this this intermediate point at 1,500 feet AGL is what we're restricted at here, from here to point D. I suspect it's for deconfliction with the some of the other routes through here. We'll come up to 1,500 feet. We'll fly, continue going straight ahead down until we pick up. This is it's just a creek, I guess, but it is fairly prominent. Pick up this creek, come back right. We're good back down to 200 feet. We can follow this creek all the way down. Keep coming all the way down. We'll pick up some railroad tracks here. We can follow this creek all the way down to the Columbia River at point E here. At the Columbia River, or back up, we need to be at or above 1,000 feet. The river's only 1,000 feet to 1,500 feet AGL all the way till we get to point F here, but we can just follow the Columbia River pretty much all the way down until we pick up this pass at point F. Run through the pass, and once we're through the pass, we want to above at or above 300 feet because of crop dusting operations. Because if you actually look at the area right here, this is actually a concentrated area where there's a lot of farms, and so they do crop dusting at low altitude here. So we want to stay at or above 300 feet through this section. Once we cross over this the end of the Columbia River again, we're good back down to 200 feet. Come down here, hopefully we can pick up these power lines, follow these power lines through point G as we cross these hills, come back left, come down here. We need to avoid this town. I usually have marked these towns as threat markings. It's for training, it's unuseful, use them as notional SAM sites. Cross I-82 exactly at the half-hour point, and then about 30 seconds later come left, or sorry, come right at point H. Run through here. This is pretty barren. There's no really significant landmarks. Just have to keep see if we can pick up these corrals or maybe even spot this airport if we're exactly on center line. And we're going to come back down here. I believe this is the Yakima River, I think. I'm not exactly sure. And it's not labeled on the chart. Whatever. We cross this body of water. We'll hit our IP at point I, and we'll come left immediately as we cross the river. We'll punch it up, the speed up to 540 knots for the run in. Come right. Sorry. Yeah, come left onto the target. We'll probably crank off to the south here for a pop at 4 miles once we're inside the inner restricted area, and pop up, hit the target, come off north, hopefully, and we'll get turned back around inside the inner area here and come back out to A. We'll hit A. We'll hit our time on target. We're hoping we'll be at exactly at the 36-minute point. We'll see how accurately we can hold that. As we come back out to the left, to the west here, hopefully we'll come back in. We got to hit this at or above 300 AGL for agricultural stuff. So as you can actually look again, you can see farms all in here. So come back out left here, and then come up on VR 1355. There's stuff on the center line here we have to avoid by 500 feet laterally. It's a couple of houses. I guess they file a bunch of noise complaints on, I don't know if that's State Highway 97 or an Interstate 97, but we'll just make sure to offset slightly left or right of center line as we come up onto point B here. My preference actually be to swing Y. It looks like the terrain's lower, so we'll swing out to the south to avoid those houses. Run up through point B. Again, this is mostly fairly boring, straight up. There's some terrain up to point C, cross this lake. We can keep snaking through these valleys up here. The key point is when we get to point D, you want to make sure we're slightly offset to the right here, or the left, so that as we come up past here, we can pick up this pass and run through on these railroad tracks and then run right up back this lake. There's actually a lot of cool videos of guys doing this online. It's a really cool bit of terrain to snake back up through that way. There's a ski resort up there that we got to avoid, but as long as we don't climb the hill and we stay down the lake, we'll be fine. And come up here, pick our way back up this way. Continue just picking our way up through these valleys. We'll try and pick up this valley here. We can snake it back up this way pretty much all the way, it looks like. And once we get up near point E, we can come off left. There's some low terrain through here. Crest that ridge, come through this low terrain, come up through here, and then we can get into this is the Seattle. It's not the Seattle, it's the Seattle River. And follow this up. We can actually stay with the center line if we cut around that ridge and continue hugging back up here. We can actually hug the right side of this this terrain here. We'll have to continue hugging it to the right there, and then come back left. Again, we got to avoid Lake Kavanaugh here. Again, also for noise. Point Q, call Whidbey approach, and pop back up probably about 3,000 feet and exit at point G, and proceed straight back into Whidbey. And that should be about it through the route into ActiveSky. And by far the worst weather is Whidbey Island with scattered at 35, so we should have absolutely no weather concerns. The winds at the altitude about 5,000 feet, 3,000 feet are pretty much calm. It's not going to be a big factor at all. I believe there's a high level overcast that has to turn on clouds, so we'll be under clouds pretty much the entire route. Okay, so that's about that. Let's go get in the jet. Alright, we are here on the north ramp at Whidbey Island. We're going to walk up to our Hornet here. Scenery is from Bluesky scenery, so there actually is photo scenery. It will look quite nice once we get airborne. Our loadout today, as you can see, is we've got a pair of Mark 82 Snake Eyes under each of the middle pylons. We're carrying an AT-flare on the left cheek, a single centerline station, and there is an AM9 mic on the right wingtip simulating a Cat AM9. I'm not going to do a walk around here because stuff doesn't break, but let's get into the airplane and start powering it on. Alright, we're in the cockpit here. Let's start running through battery start, do a quick initial scan of the cockpit, make sure everything is where it's supposed to be. I think it is, so we're going to go for battery start here. cycle the battery, fire test B. While we're doing this, we're going to turn down the oral and voice warning so I don't go deaf once the engines start. Okay, both fire tests are complete. APU accumulator light. Well, actually the APU accumulator is on. Let's see if it'll actually successfully start. Yep, we're lucky. Alright, APU ready light is on. Clear the right intake. Checked. Crank engine 2. At 15%. Throttle to idle. Alright, the engine's powered up and is good. Put this bleed air to norm. Lights test. So make sure everything looks good. Select the engine page here. And we're going to go to crank number 2, or number 1. Idle. Alright. Engine 1 stable at idle. Get our screens up here. Okay, so a biggie we're going to check on here as we get powered up is we need to go to data and check waypoint 0, looks good. We're going to go to aircraft, GPWS is boxed, we're going to set this to TAC BLM, not that it really makes a big difference. We're going to go to decimal minutes just so it matches the coordinates on that, and HSI. You can see our next point is point A right over there as we briefed. Scale this in a little. Okay, we're going to do a FCS reset, which should clear. No, didn't take it. There it goes. Should clear most of the cast messages while leaving us with an FCS. Flaps, we're going to go to 0. FCS IBIT, FCS, start running that exerciser. Run auto bit here, check our stores page. We are in fact loaded with 82 X-rays. I'm going to set these to program. We'll have to tweak this in en route. Let's go. UFC quantity is going to go to 2. Should give us paired. Perfect. So program 2, drag is set to retard as well. Alright, SMS page is good. Let's test our bingo. Bingo's good. We got an alert on that. I'm going to set this to Bingo, coming back, it's about a half-hour flight at 9,000 pounds fuel per hour, so we'll set our bingo to 6, and that should get us back with about 1,500 remaining minimum. Alright, UFC avionics. Okay, power everything up there, and we got Whidbey Tachyon. We come off runway 27, so we need to intercept the 267 radial. So we're going to set that now, just so it's there, and the UAV is set up. Okay, trim, we're going to reset for takeoff. There we go. Okay, and run flight controls check here. Go fully aft, should be 24 degrees nose up, full nose down, should be, looks right, differential should be 30, checks both sides, rotors we should have 40 left and about 40 right, looks good. Go flaps half. Okay, let's check now, let's get our probe out, look down, launch bar down, spoilers out, and turn on our pitot heat. It should be everything to test. Come around outside here, look around, everything looks to be deployed nicely. Okay, and turn off the pitot heat. Okay, reset our fuel SDCs here. Reset. INSs would be aligned in real life by now. They'd be on the HSI. INS nav. That looks good. Select to standby. Matches the standby attitude indicator. Set to auto. IR cool to override. Let's check our radar. It's past its bit. And it's past its bit as well. Looks good. Alright, we are good to go for departure here. Alright, off we go here. Release the brakes, start rolling. Brake check coming off the pad. So steering high, swing it around. I'm not quite sure why there are F-22s on the ramp here. I think it's just the default tactical aircraft, I guess. Shit, and actually there's B-52s over there too, even though they should be P-3s. Close enough, right? Nose wheel liftoff speed should be about 130, we should be in our CG, and we should be airborne at by about 150. Okay. Lined on up, on the brakes. Run them up. 80%, everything looks good in the green, into burner. Nozzles open. It's going to happen quick because we are really light. There we go. Airborne gear. 200 knots flaps. 230 out of burner. Did not overspeed the gear either. Sorry, it's the 247 radial. I don't know why I'm thinking 247. We should be on this pretty quickly here. There's 300 knots. Keep the climb going at 300. There's 3,000 feet. Clear right. Let's turn out right direct point A. We'll level off at 5,000 feet. that up over there appears to be Lake Woolley, the town we're supposed to be avoiding. So we gotta stay. We're at least 3 miles away from that, so we're good. Okay, coming onto the route here, we're gonna stay at 5,000 feet until we enter here. We're actually gonna go CNI, and we'd be canceling IFR here, so we're gonna throw 1200 into our transponder. I believe there's actually a discrete code they give you, but I don't know what it is off the top of my head. Time UFC, auto throttle's going to come off here. We're going to push this up. 420. 420 true is our target. Probably going to be about 400 at this altitude. 400 indicated at this altitude. Okay, just like the waypoint 2. Point Bravo. Right about 400 knot indicator gives us 300 true. Throw the radar altimeter up on the HUD. Alright, here we go. Calling out a beam our point, the clock is running. Like I said, we gotta remain up north of center line on this part of the route. Just a minute, I think we're looking good. We should be coming across a river here shortly. It's the Sauk River. Should cross in about 3 minutes. Looking right on time. Good. A little south of center line, but they're fine through here. Just snake up this. And 0.2 south. Keep coming back a little bit further to the north here. this might be it right here. I just don't want to descend through the clouds. Yeah, this is it. I can maintain VFR through here. I think. Yes, I got it. Past point C. We're going to swing wide to avoid that farm. We're going to stay on the south side of the center line. Fun little terrain artifact. There's 2.5 mile south course. Let's come right left here, parallel our course until we find that river, or until we find the Columbia River. Should have checked for a mountain obscuration here, Matt. Funny, actually, I keep saying clouds. None reported, but there seem to be plenty of clouds. Yeah, right here's point Q. Let's get some power in here and climb. We gotta be at 1,500 feet. Should be over this ridge at 14 minutes. Not bad, I'll call it. I'm guessing that depression out ahead there is going to be our next point, point Charlie. How are we doing on gas? We finished our internals, our external tank. What's our fuel flow looking like here? 6,000. A little bit under what we planned for, which is good. We're also flying straight and level right now, which is not a pro, so it's not really a problem. So we're coming through here, we're looking for other traffic because there's a bunch of routes that converge right over this point. Hit this lake in 16 minutes. Looks like we're going to be a little bit early, I think. So I guess what we're going to do is we're going to come a little bit wide here, add some distance so we don't have to slow down anymore. Lake here. Crossing onto it. 16. Right on schedule. Perfect. Like I said, this is a fairly small body of water, but you can actually see that it's fairly well defined. And we can just follow this all the way to the next waypoint. I don't know what the hell's causing those terrain artifacts. Stay on this road. One of the things that's important is when you're doing this and you're following stuff, it's important to not like keep following something and get so sucked into the ground that you actually just fly into it. It's a bad day for everybody involved. Stay on the creek here. It should meet back up with the road. Minutes here. Should be hitting the Columbia River probably about 20:45 or 21. About 2 minutes out, so yeah, probably could push it up a little here. Keep it, we're doing 440 here. Minutes. I think I can see the Columbia River up ahead. Looks like we're going to hit it exactly at 20:45, which is what we want. You can actually see it on the radar here, because it somehow goes through terrain. Terrain artifacts are getting worse. I suspect I've pissed off prepared. Alright, we cycle to the next waypoint. here down to point F. We need to be at 1,000 AGL. So keep the climb up here. Climb up a little here. A little late, we're going to push this up a bit. There's 22 minutes right about now. I'm going to be at 22 minutes just before the shore of this island. So we're running. Call that about 15 seconds fast. So we're going to keep our speed up here for a little bit longer, and we'll pull the power back. This has got to be really fun to do in real life. Cruising down the river at 450 knots. Okay, so that ridge line is going to be up ahead, is going to be the Saddle Mountain Ridge, which is going to be the ridge we're going to pass, we're going to cut through for point F. Bridge, we should be about across this bridge about 23:30. Getting a little low here actually as well. Okay. Still a little late, but we're catching up. Alright, let's cut right here. And go direct for point F. Go direct for the steer. Theoretically, this ridge becomes this cut becomes a lot more prominent once you crest this ridge. A little bit of a cutaway here. Here it is. Go down to 300 feet here. Left of center line. Sorry, to the right of center line here. Alright, so there's going to be crop dusters below us. We want to avoid the national there's a wildlife refuge off to our left. Somewhere over yonder. Follow this road. At 300 AGL. 26 minutes. Supposedly there is a high spot somewhere around here, or double towers. I don't quite see them. Actually, I'm going to hit at 26. I at 26. We went across the river about 26:15, 26:10 it looks like. A little slow, let's push it, put in some more power. Throw these up, clear this. There's the creek and the interstate, a little bit fast, 15 seconds fast. Bleed off a little bit of speed here, come back in down here. This is our run to the target. Let's go air to ground. X-ray profile is good. I just realized I don't think I ever actually set target. Knots here. Like I previously briefed, this is a fairly flat part of the route. There's not much along here. There's no, we need to be hitting our IP at about 34 and aim to hit it about 34 and change, so we're going a little bit fast here. Oh hey, I somehow got a TOT time. I'm not sure what that's relative to. Little early here. There's 34, about 10 seconds early. Let's see, it's at the target raft. Right, about 10 seconds early. Let's push this up to 5:54. Here, low. Low. Been hot. Nose down. Actually, this is a little steeper than we want. Weapons away. Safe escape. Turn. A little long. Come right back down to low level. Off safe. Okay, these buildings. We want to hit this point Alright, 40, pretty much exactly at 42. Yeah, I'll call that 500 feet laterally. 42 minutes. So, call it 5 seconds early. But we're not trying to hit a TOT coming back, so we can go a little bit, we can be a little bit more lax. I'm going to scale this ridge. Luckily, at lightweight, with almost no drag, the Super Hornet has absolutely no issue climbing this ridge at nil. And accelerating as it climbs the ridge at nil. I think I said my preference was to go south around this mountain, but whatever. Doesn't particularly matter. I'm going to drop off on the far side of this ridge. Like so. My hope is that we don't get too much into the clouds as we come back around on this side. I would like the well, far enough off. We can get a turn in around here though. The Chip Whiz is not happy with me. 3.4. Yeah, we got this. Point as we're coming through here, we're running way early. Like a minute early. Well, probably only like 30 seconds early. Hope those guys like the sound of jet noise. Just running early, I'm gonna keep the power coming back here. Okay, this is... What lake is this? Burning Lake? There's some cabins off the north end here. Let's give them a fun little buzz. .50 Yeah, we're still about a minute early, but picking up a lot of speed coming back here. Coming back into clouds, which I am not happy about. It's raining. Thank you, ActiveSky. Thank you for that. Running early. Let's run up this ridge here. Let's fall until we hit the 4 miles. We'll turn crest and turn back. Ridge. Oh, crap. Let's come back out of the weather, please. Mountain obscuration. So yeah, it's snowing pretty good right about now. Luckily, we've been able to maintain VFR for the most part in these valleys. Actually, come to think of it, I think this is just actually not so much rain. I think this is just ActiveSky's or Prepared's rain effect. I think this is just typical Pacific Northwest weather. This is not looking good. Let's get the velocity vector up. Punch out of this, see if we can find a hole and we can make our way back down. Look at that. Finally got more space here. Okay, looks clear pretty much all the way back to Whidbey. Alright, I'm not going insane. It does look clear. Maps timer reset at 60 minutes. We'll be good. We're good though. Close enough. Our final time's not going to be that different. There we go. Maybe just pick up in the Whidbey Tachyon. north here to get back on Route 7 to avoid the lake to the south. Point Q. Can I give Whitby a call? Let them know we're going to go straight in for runway, runway 25 for the overhead. Actually, what we do is we could actually check Whitby ATIS if we wanted to. See if we're actually receiving it. Back to tower. Let's level up at 3,000 feet here and start heading back and head back in. Bring the power back and start slowing down considerably. Okay. Whitby initial altitude is 2,500 feet by 4 miles. We'll step down to that now. We'll stay at 300 knots. Push up to 350 for the overhead once we pass initial. There's 4 miles. Start on down. 1,500. Let's pick it up to 350 for the overhead. Break. Throw gear out. Flaps come down to 1,000. Pattern altitude. Landing checklist. Wheels down, flaps full, hook is up, anti-skid is on, harness is set, dispenser is off. And there's 45. Gusty here, but we got it. And it's pretty much right down the runway. To speak of, let's be land pilot safe. There it is. Yep, spoilers out, and let's keep an aero brake going here. Let's get touchdown 80 knots. I took that turn a little too hard. Alright, stower spoilers. And with 4.8, which is pretty much what I planned to. Bit. On the bit. Let's reset our trim down to 0. This is where we were parked before. Paddle off nose wheel steering. Set the parking brake. Alright, bit display is good. Radar knob is going to come off. Sensors avionics. Off. 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 Okay. Let's kill these guys. Off. Off. External, internal lights and knobs off. Canopy is going to be opened. But humidity pressure is good. Nose wheel steering is disengaged. And we've been taxiing for at least 5 minutes, which means we're good. Leads are secured. Throttles are coming off. Lose everything here. Gens to trip off. Oh, I did not get that one. Okay. DDI knobs off. Off HUD is off. And the battery switch is coming off. Let's drop the ladder and get out.